Welcome back to Info Caretaker. In today's video, we're counting down the top 10 most populated countries in 2050. We'll look at how these countries have grown since the year 2000, where they stand today in 2025, and most importantly, what the projections show for 2050. Stick around until the very end, because I'll also share the predicted total world population in 2050. These figures are based on the United Nations World Population Prospects, one of the most reliable global datasets out there. Now, let's dive straight into the list. Starting us off at number 10 is Ethiopia. Back in the year 2000, Ethiopia's population was around 66 million people. Fast forward to today in 2025, and that number has more than doubled to about 128 million. By 2050, Ethiopia is projected to reach an astonishing 205 million people. This kind of growth is both exciting and challenging. On the positive side, Ethiopia's youthful population could mean a dynamic workforce and economic potential if education and job creation keep pace. But on the flip side, rapid growth places huge strain on resources, from water and food security to healthcare and infrastructure. Ethiopia's future will depend on how well it balances this booming population with sustainable development. At number 9, we have Bangladesh. In 2000, Bangladesh already had a large population of about 131 million people. By 2025, that number has risen to roughly 172 million. Looking ahead to 2050, Bangladesh is expected to peak at around 215 million. Bangladesh is one of the most densely populated countries on Earth, meaning a huge number of people living within a relatively small land area. The upside here is a massive labor force that has fueled industries like textiles, which drive much of the country's economy. But density also creates challenges: housing shortages, pollution, and vulnerability to climate change, especially rising sea levels. Bangladesh's story is one of resilience, but the pressure of accommodating over 200 million people in such a small space will remain one of its biggest tests. Coming in at number 8 is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Back in 2000, the DRC's population was around 47 million. Today, in 2025, it has more than doubled to about 111 million. By 2050, the DRC is projected to reach a staggering 215 million people, putting it on par with Bangladesh. What makes this so striking is the pace of growth. The DRC has one of the fastest rising populations in the world, largely due to high birth rates. On the positive side, this youthful population could become a powerful driver of economic expansion, especially given the country's vast natural resources. But the challenges are immense. Infrastructure, healthcare, and political stability will all need to keep up with the sheer speed of this growth. The DRC's demographic future could either be a massive opportunity or a serious struggle, depending on how it navigates these pressures. At number 7, we find Brazil, the largest country in South America. In the year 2000, Brazil's population stood at about 175 million. By 2025, it has grown to roughly 216 million. But here's the interesting part. Unlike many countries on this list, Brazil's growth is beginning to slow. By 2050, the projection is around 231 million, an increase, but a modest one compared to countries like the DRC or Ethiopia. Brazil's advantage is that a slower growth rate can give it more breathing room to focus on development, infrastructure, and quality of life. However, it also means Brazil will face an aging population sooner than some of its peers, putting pressure on pensions and healthcare systems. So while Brazil will remain one of the most populated countries in the world, its challenge won't be explosive growth. It will be how to manage a population that's gradually getting older. At number 6, we have Indonesia, the world's largest island nation. Back in 2000, Indonesia's population was about 211 million. Fast forward to 2025, and it has grown to around 282 million. Looking ahead to 2050, Indonesia is projected to reach approximately 317 million people. Indonesia's population story is fascinating because it's a mix of both opportunity and challenge. On the positive side, it has a large and youthful workforce, which can drive innovation, manufacturing, and economic growth. With its strategic location in Southeast Asia, Indonesia is poised to remain a major player in the global economy. But the challenges are real: overcrowding in urban areas, environmental pressures on its islands, and the risk of inequality between rural and city populations. If managed well, Indonesia could leverage its demographics as a huge advantage, but if not, it could struggle to meet the needs of so many people spread across thousands of islands. Coming in at number 5 is Pakistan. In the year 2000, Pakistan's population was around 141 million. By 2025, that number has soared to about 243 million. And by 2050, the prediction is an incredible 366 million people, making Pakistan one of the fastest-growing countries on this entire list. This rapid growth gives Pakistan a powerful demographic advantage, a young, energetic population that can fuel its economy for decades. More people means more workers, more entrepreneurs, and more potential for innovation. However, the flip side is significant. With such rapid growth comes huge pressure on infrastructure, education, healthcare, and job creation. Pakistan will need to manage its resources carefully to ensure this population growth becomes a strength rather than a burden. By 2050, Pakistan will have overtaken countries like Brazil and Indonesia, cementing its place among the most populated nations in the world. At number 4, we have the United States of America. Back in 2000, the U.S. population was around 282 million. By 2025, it's expected to reach about 345 million. Looking ahead to 2050, the U.S. is projected to grow to roughly 375 million people. Compared to some of the explosive growth we've seen in other countries, this increase is steady rather than dramatic. What makes the U.S. unique is that much of this growth will come from immigration, which has historically been a driving force in shaping its economy and culture. The positives here are clear. A growing population means a continued large workforce, a strong consumer base, and resilience in global competition. The U.S. will remain one of the world's economic superpowers. But on the other hand, challenges include political debates around immigration, rising urban density, and the need to modernize infrastructure to support so many people. By 2050, the U.S. will still be the most populated country in the Western Hemisphere, but it will be far behind giants like India and China. Next up, at number 3, is Nigeria, Africa's most populous country and one of the fastest-growing nations on Earth. In 2000, Nigeria's population stood at about 123 million. Jump to 2025, and that number has more than doubled to around 229 million. By 2050, Nigeria is projected to skyrocket to nearly 377 million people, overtaking the United States to become the third most populated country in the world. This growth is both inspiring and daunting. On the positive side, Nigeria will have one of the youngest populations in the world, full of energy, creativity, and potential to drive Africa's economic rise. Its cultural influence, through music, film, and technology, is already felt globally, and this will only continue to expand. But the rapid increase also comes with challenges. Nigeria will need massive investments in housing, education, healthcare, and infrastructure to keep up. If these needs aren't met, overcrowding and inequality could hold back its progress. Still, by 2050, Nigeria's position as a global powerhouse will be undeniable. It's a country to watch. At number 2, we have China, long known as the most populated country in the world, but by 2050, that will no longer be the case. In the year 2000, China had a population of about 1.26 billion people. By 2025, the number is expected to peak at around 1.41 billion. But here's where things change. By 2050, China's population is actually predicted to decline to about 1.32 billion. This shift is historic. For decades, China's massive population was the backbone of its rapid economic growth, providing endless labor and fueling industrial expansion. But now, the country faces an aging society, a shrinking workforce, and lower birth rates, partly due to the effects of its long-standing one-child policy. On the positive side, China will still be home to a huge consumer market and a highly skilled workforce. But on the downside, it will have to deal with the pressure of supporting a much older population, balancing economic growth with social care. By 2050, China will no longer be the world's most populated country. And finally, at number 1, we have India, set to become the world's most populated nation. Back in 2000, India's population was around 1.05 billion. By 2025, it has already grown to an estimated 1.44 billion. And by 2050, India is projected to reach about 1.67 billion people. This growth is astonishing. India will not only surpass China but also stand as the clear leader in global population. With one of the youngest demographics on Earth, India's workforce will be massive, giving the country enormous economic potential. Add to that a growing tech industry, a rich cultural presence, and a rising middle class, and India is positioned to become one of the most influential nations in the world. But there are challenges too. Feeding, housing, and providing healthcare for nearly 1.7 billion people will be no small task. Infrastructure, education, and job creation will need to expand dramatically to keep pace. If managed well, India's population growth could be its greatest strength. If not, it could become a strain. Either way, India's role on the world stage will be impossible to ignore. So we've gone through the top 10 countries, but here's the big question. What will the total global population look like in 2050? Back in 2000, the world's population was about 6.1 billion people. By 2025, it has already risen to roughly 8.1 billion. And by 2050, global population is expected to hit 9.7 billion people. That's nearly 10 billion humans living on this planet. This growth will bring incredible opportunities for innovation, cultural exchange, and economic development. But it also brings challenges, from food production to climate change, housing, and resource management. The future of the world's population will shape everything, from global politics to technology to how we live our daily lives. And there you have it, the top 10 most populated countries in 2050, plus the big global picture. Nearly 10 billion people will share this planet by then, and how each country manages its growth will have a huge impact on the future of humanity. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these numbers surprised you the most? Do you think countries like Nigeria and Pakistan are ready for such explosive growth? Or will India's rise as the most populated nation reshape the world order? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit that like button and, of course, subscribe to Info Caretaker for more deep dives into the future of our world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.